Thanks for checking in the Pivoting to Web3 podcast. Go to pivotingtoweb3podcast.com to download and listen, or Web3 Game Plan to check out the videos. Thank you. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome to Pivoting to Web3 podcast. And today we have Gladys Margarita Diaz. Hopefully I said that correctly because she is exciting. She's in a space that I haven't had on the podcast before. She's an architect, real estate. She's into finance. She's into AI. I keep feeling like I don't know what she's not into. She's in all the right places and spaces. She's making moves. I haven't had anybody on a podcast like this before with a project that is about to really blow up. But I really think it'd be nice if I let her tell you who she is beyond what I've mentioned, because she is making moves with some serious power players in the urban planning space. And that's an important space to be in. So welcome, Gladys Margarita Diaz. And she's from Miami. Okay. Welcome to the show, Gladys.
Thank you. And I'm so glad to talk to a New Yorker, because a little piece of my heart is still in New York State. And because I lived there for so many years, and I wanted to, when I finished college, which is in Ithaca, New York, and I went to New York City, I wanted to see how I could use my skills to create projects that were going to make the world a better place. And you know that architects are dreamers, and we don't understand finance very well. That's not part of the curriculum. So I went to work in the investment banking field. I worked for a big public agency and their real estate department. And I kind of got into how do you create projects that are going to move the needle in terms of upgrading the lifestyle of humanity, right? So I was born in Cuba. I grew up in the United States. I live in Miami, the capital of Latin America. I lived in New York City for an entire decade. I was a yuppie in New York in the 80s. So I did it all. And what's happened is that in the last, since I morphed I worked in the three pillars of the built environment, which is the financial services industry, the construction and design industry, and the real estate industry. And how does that work? You find the money to build it, and then you sell it. You get it in the hands of the user. And that is the housing industry, because everybody needs a roof over their head. And I know that commercial real estate, is very exciting and all that other good stuff. But at the end of the day, everybody needs a place to live. And a place to live and a business to own is part of the DNA of this country. And someone who came to this country fleeing a dictator really appreciates the possibility of creating my life here and owning my own business, owning my own home. That's what we want to do, and we want to succeed. And this country gives you that opportunity. So I thought, how can I use my knowledge about design and neighborhoods and communities to create something that is going to magically transform the way that people look for housing? And I kept thinking about it, and I started going to the Google startup grind. I mean, you can imagine it's a lifelong learning experience, right? And, I took a course on social media in the local university. Can you imagine that? I was the oldest person in the room. And, it's just like your mind doesn't age. Your body may not follow suit, but that's fine. And I came up with this idea of creating the ability to use visual searching. And the technology is finally here. Artificial intelligence is now, pretty much going mainstream. And I sat next to an alumni guy at a dinner, and I said to him, hi, like you always say, hi, my name is so-and-so. And he says, oh, and what do you do? And I said, well, I have blah, blah, blah. He says, well, I'm in the software business. And I said, oh, I have an idea for an app. And I told him the idea, and he said, oh, that's wonderful. I like it.
So when you told him, not to interrupt you, but I really got to ask you this, because I know they're dying to know. When you told him your idea, how did you express the idea to him? What did you say to him for him to agree? How did you paint that picture?
when a person is looking for a home, right now, the only way that they can do that is using the technology that's existing, which is very quantitative. But what is not available is the qualitative experience. And what I do in my business is I erase the gap between the numbers and the emotions of buying a property, because purchasing your home is one of the most powerful events in your life. And you may buy a home and then another home, but at the end of the day, that ability to tune into someone's emotional, like how do you help the person go through the process of buying a home is something that a lot of people don't confront. And I explained to him that this could be done visually using AI, and that people search by style. Like, wouldn't it be cool? You like a house that looks like, let's say you like Victorian, and that's a wood type of house with the peaked roofs. You take a photograph of that and you upload it into an app, and the app searches the MLS for something that looks like that. And he looked at me and he goes, I like it. And then he said, but you're not thinking big enough. And I go, what do you mean? He goes, I come from the world of data science. I just sold my company for $60 million. And I'm trying to look for a new project, and I like your project. I like your idea. And what I contribute is the consumer behavior analytics, which he has been working in Fortune 100 companies on consumer products. One of his biggest customers was Coca-Cola. And he explained to me how they analyzed the customer avatar for a particular location where Coke Zero was being sold, et cetera, et cetera. He says, we can translate that, we can do that for you, but for homes. And so that's what started the whole conversation, which is to basically create something that would change the way that you purchase your place. And he loved it, and I love it.
So if I understand what you're saying, if I don't like Victorian, so let's go with contemporary.
Okay, there you go.
Patio homes. And I want at least 2 bedrooms on the first floor. And I want to have a certain amount of square footage and a wraparound deck and a couple of balconies. But whatever the style is, Victorian, Cape Cod,
Craftsman,
all the different styles, ranch, whatever. At the end of the day, we're going to go by style, and you can tell me where those styles are in the country or in a state or in a location.
Right now,
personalize it.
Yes. Right now, we're launching in South Florida because obviously that's where we both live. And our team, we have 3 people that are here in Miami, and the rest of the team, the engineers, are in India. And, this county, Miami-Dade County, is a microcosm of, New York City. It's a small population. We're 2.7 million. But at the end of the day, we have every ethnicity that you have in New York City, but at a smaller scale. So neighborhoods have their own identity and their own beingness, their own spirituality, their own vibe. And we can use that as a platform to build for the rest of the country, because Miami has that. We have the ability to identify the different, and I've worked in that field in community development. So I've been in community meetings. I've heard what people want in their neighborhood. And we created a neighborhood search, so that before you go looking for a house, you say, I want to live near my office. I want to live near my child's school. I want to live near the beach, wherever it is that you want to be. And then you start from the neighborhood, and then you choose the type of house that you want that's in that neighborhood. And maybe the type of house you want isn't in that neighborhood.
Right.
Because it's a historic neighborhood and modern houses aren't allowed.
Right.
By the way, is where I live. I live in Coral Gables, which is a very strict design criteria. And so the aesthetic of this particular community is very Mediterranean, very Spanish, all that. So if I want a contemporary home, I have to move just outside of this particular neighborhood. So if I can help you identify what you like, the type of neighborhood that you like, that has the vibe that you seek. Every neighborhood has its own identity, its, cultural activity. Everything is based on who lives there and what they like to do. And you feel like, these are my people. I want to be there. This is the artist community. Creative people live there. I want to be near my designers and artists and stuff like that. And so that is something that is possible. And that's what we want to create. And AI makes it possible. And the data that's available, there are no secrets, by the way. There are no secrets. And the data that's available can give you that. I want to live in a neighborhood that has art galleries. I want to live in a neighborhood that has an after-school program in the park. I want to live in a neighborhood that has all this other stuff. And then after that, you can say, I want a house that's 2 bedrooms, 2 baths. I want to live in a flat house. I don't want to have a second story. I want it to be ADA qualified, because we're not getting any younger. And even young people have to think about, what if they're skiing and they break their leg? Going up and down 3 flights of stairs isn't going to be pretty. And so those are the kind of things that we think about. And as we've been creating this product, we're thinking about these things and how do we present it to the customer.
So the personalization ability is there.
Yes.
And the geographic location is open.
It's available.
And the design of your life, you can be now more specific.
Exactly.
And with that said, that means AI, just from previous conversations, can have biases. How are you managing those biases? Has that been in the conversation or design, and what direction are you going with that?
The technology guys are creating a proprietary method of us gathering the data and basically making it our own, so it has our own positioning, our own viewpoint, and making it so that people can adapt, they can search for something based on their own criterion and not have a bias. And I think that that's very important, by the way, because it's an issue that we have to confront, that AI can and will have a bias because of it. AI is only, it's fed by what you feed it. In other words, it gives you back what you put into it. So if you put into it data that comes from a culturally inaccessible or culturally inappropriate entity, then it's going to come back with that evaluation. Whereas if you give it something that's neutral and that has the ability to accept other viewpoints and other strategies to think, then that is something that you want to nourish. And it's about feeding it the correct data. And what is the correct data? Well, you try to keep your ethics and your code of honor and your information that you want in there. And we talked about this earlier in the conversation. And I think that that's something that's that we want to create.
Wow, this is exciting. So it sounds like when you look at this from not just the homeowner standpoint, from a commercial standpoint and development and urban development and what you do, when you expand that and make it bigger, what are the different elements that you look at in the planning process? And now that you have an AI, what were you looking at before that you can now look at better, differently, and more efficiently now with the AI from an urban standpoint or a commercial standpoint?
Well, we're not focusing on commercial, but if you think about a city or a town or a village, humanity has always gathered together to live together. And a place where you can have a home that you can walk to the grocery store, you can go to the corner coffee, you can go visit your friends without going 65 miles in your car. That is something very valuable. And that's a whole trend that we've been seeing over the last 20 years. And it's called the new urbanism, right? And those of us in the planning field, that has been guiding, how do you say, a North Star for many of us. And so if you look at every town and every development and see how can I make this community more accessible to everyone so people can walk everywhere. You don't have to have a car, or there's public transportation, or you can ride your bike safely. Think about that. You know, you don't have to have the thousands of dollars that it costs a car so that you can get to work.
Those all that parking and everything, and having to store your car, and then vandalism or different issues, or oh my goodness.
But pedestrian safe communities is the future. And I think that there is a possibility for developers to actually create these. And they do, just so you know, they are doing this even as we speak. Last week, I was in Las Vegas for the National Association of Local Housing Finance Authorities. I serve on the board locally, and I'm the chairman of the Architectural Review Committee. We created about 20 years ago a design guideline for developers who build affordable housing using government funding. And they come before us, and we basically said it has to create a community, it has to be walkable. How close is the local transit station? How close is the local bus station? Is there room in this building for people to have an after-school program? Anything that has to do with gathering together to play games, to have fun, to be a community. Mm-hmm. And that has been, I'm so proud of our organization, because Miami-Dade County Housing Finance Authority won an award for one of our buildings that is here in downtown. Why? Because it looks like market rate. It doesn't mean just because you're a working person and you don't make hundreds of thousands of dollars a year, doesn't mean that you can't live in something that is really super high quality and classy, you know?
That sounds very interesting. And I was just thinking about, so how much is all this going to cost if you utilize this, or if you want to select your home this way? I mean, you still have access to the same properties that are on the market today. So therefore, whether you're making a lot of money or not making a lot of money, you're still in the same situation, except now you can really be more specific, more personalized, and probably be happier on that move. It's a significant emotional event for everyone, no matter when you move and no matter what generation. It's a big event. So this is really exciting what's taking place. So tell me, when are you guys going to be launching this? Is this project completed? Is it still in development? What's going on with it?
This close. Our goal is to have the first of our multiple solutions in development. The first one is how to price your home, the acquisition of your home, how to look at the property and know that this is right for you and how much you can pay for it or you want to pay for it. So we're in the middle of developing that. That should be out by July the 3rd. That's our date. And then we'd like to have, we're going to test it locally, and then we'll do a bigger launch later on in the summer. And the next one is the neighborhood search. And that's really going to be cool. That's really super cool.
Have you gotten any pushback or anything from the government, county, local, towns? Does it matter? Do they need to know?
This is a market-driven product. It has nothing to do with the government. What we want is we want to showcase properties that are available, whatever that might be. And I think that, and where you choose to be is your decision. And you need to be informed. I think our key component to this is having an informed consumer. Do you remember the brand Sims? Mm-hmm. You remember that? I used to buy my suits there in New York City. An educated consumer is our best customer. A person who knows about the market, who knows the quality of the building that they're going into or the property that they're going to visit, mm-hmm. who knows the neighborhood, who understands it, who says, oh, I want to be here. It's close to the school that I want my kid to go to. That person is going to be a happy camper because we're giving him the tools to be able to be informed. That's the idea.
So this really sounds exciting, but I'm curious to know, with all this good news and all these opportunities in personalization, what is it that you've seen that concerns you, or you guys felt like you needed to really handle it and manage it to make sure the outcomes were in the arena that you preferred?
I think right now the real estate brokerage industry is under attack. That there is the viewpoint that real estate brokers charge too much money for the service they provide. Nobody's ever sued attorneys for the service they provide.
That's true.
But the kind of things that we, the real estate professionals, provide, the data that we provide, the guidance that we provide, the service that we provide is being questioned. And so we thought, okay, how can we help the customer make a better decision and choose the right agent? And how can we help the agent be more efficient, be more informed, be more capable, and provide the kind of service that the customer really needs? Our business, my business, has been founded on the buyer's needs. I've always been customer focused. Mm-hmm. Even though I have a background in property development and property construction and all that, it's all about what do they want? What does the person need? How do they see themselves living? It's how you see yourself living. Do you see yourself in a car for 2.5 hours? I don't think so. Mm-hmm. Do you have a dog that you want a big yard? Do you have no dog and you don't want to do the yard? You want something really like, I don't want any land, you know? And you want to be close to the downtown so you can walk to the shops and you can go to dinner with your friends? Right. Or are you willing to live in a more rural environment where it's a lot less people? People have different tastes. That's what life is all about. And people want to live in different areas. Give them the choice.
I really like the sound. My wheels are turning. They're turning so fast. I can't. We're going to have to do another podcast and have another meeting because I've got some ideas going on and swirling around the back of my head. So tell me this. So you all are about to launch soon, and have you developed any partners or alliances? Have you started working on that yet, or you're still in the testing phase and going through the beta, or what's up?
We're in beta. We're basically in testing mode, and we want to be really, really good. It's just like anything that you do. Is practice makes perfect. And so you want to launch the product, you want to go through the exercise of using the product and make sure that other people know how to use it, because it's okay that I know how to use it, but does the next guy know how to use it? It has to be simple. Simplicity is the essence of making things great. And that's what we want. We want to make it simple. We might make it doable. And I know we can achieve that. The team that we have is magnificent. I'm very happy that I met Anil Kaul is my number one guy. He's the CEO, and he's our number one guide. Rajat is in India. He's an AI guru. We robbed him from another position in a really big company. And then we have Sonia Salwani, who comes to us from a go-to-market viewpoint from Amazon and LinkedIn. So the four of us are using our different knowledge bases and our different skill sets to create something really different. Rajat and Anil worked together before, and they created an AI application in 2014 for some of their Fortune 100 companies. So that is why I feel comfortable that I know that these guys, they know what they're doing.
So do you feel comfortable enough to share the name of your company?
Of course. We call it Astronest, which is you find your nest in the stars on this planet. And the app is probably going to have something a little bit different. And the name may evolve. You know, we don't know. You know how that goes. Sometimes.
I know how that goes.
You know, sometimes you wake up and you're like, it should be called blah. And I'm a big believer that the name should be short and multilingual so that everybody can pronounce it, you know?
Now, with the company that you are really involved with and doing some great things in the AI space, do you have any other projects going on?
Well,
any other arenas that you want to share with us now, or are you going to keep a secret?
Well, right now, actually, I'm selling part of a property that I own in Miami, which is a historic landmark. It's a village made out of coral rock,
Ooh.
and they are tiny houses, and they're located in the middle of Coral Gables, which is the Beverly Hills of the state of Florida, basically.
Mhm.
And I remodeled them many years ago. I did all the important stuff, electrical, mechanical, plumbing, etc. And they are ready for people that want to come and work in Miami. They want to have a place, a pied-à-terre, a foot on the ground, that they want to be here, but they're traveling and they don't want to stay in a hotel. These are little houses. So if you have a pet, and or an emotional support animal, it's very easy to have them comfortably because you're right on the street. You can walk around the neighborhood. And this is a traditional neighborhood where these houses are located. So that, you see a lot of people with the children, in the pram, and you see a lot of bicycle riders, and you see skateboarders. It's a family environment, so it's very comfortable and easy to live with. And it's about 4 blocks from a golf course.
Oh, wow.
So
See,
cool.
I'm glad I asked this question. You got all kind of nuggets going on over there. So, okay, anything else you want to share? Y'all hear this? Anybody interested in any property? She got something hot. What else you want to share with us? Otherwise, let us know how we can reach you.
Well, my phone number is 305-648-2484. That's my office. And my email is gladmag, GLADMAG, at urbaniza.us, Urbaniza. And by the way, that name means in Spanish, she develops. Ella urbaniza. And my name is Gladys Margarita, as in the drink, Diaz. I always tell people my middle name is the drink, so you remember.
So Gladys Margarita Diaz, it's been wonderful getting to know you on Pivoting to Web3 Podcast. You've given us some insightful information in regards to properties that are going to be available based on personalization and AI. This is the first time I've heard of anything in that space, in this arena, definitely dealing with any type of property or real estate. So we're going to have another conversation because I'm making some moves myself. And everyone listening, thank you so much for listening to us today. This is Pivoting to Web3 Podcast, Donna Mitchell and Gladys Margarita Diaz from Miami. And she has a lot happening, so make sure you connect with her. Thanks for listening, and we're shaping tomorrow together.
Thank you.
Thanks for checking in the Pivoting to Web3 Podcast. Go to pivotingtoweb3podcast.com to download and listen, or Web3 Game Plan to check out the videos. Thank you.